Good morning and welcome to episode 100 of the Sunday with Mike series. The Sunday with Mike series started back in September of 2016. Mike and Teri Schnauder each and every week have been putting together some great content and delivering it to you with your morning coffee every Sunday morning. Being that this is episode 100, that means that this will be the last weekly show that Mike and Teri are putting together for us. This has been a labor of love for the two of them. They have been working together on this each and every week, getting topics, recording, doing some editing of the video and such to drop in the little elements and such to make this educational experience as good as it possibly could be for you guys each and every week. They're going to be stepping away from a weekly show, but Mike is still going to be involved and he'll be on with me on a regular basis and such. And we'll see. There might be something else in Mike's future coming back to the DJNTV channel with a show. But I just wanted to take this moment to thank both Teri and Mike for their time, their passion, their dedication to helping us all grow our businesses within the DJ industry. Without any further delay, let's get to episode 100.
Hi, and welcome to Sunday with Mike, show number 100. This will be our final regular weekly release of the Sunday with Mike shows. We might do a show once in a while after today, but nothing is on a scheduled basis. I hope that you've enjoyed our efforts to help all DJs around the world to become better, smarter, and more profitable. I've saved some of my best tips for today's show, so do yourself a favor and stick around for the entire show. I promise you won't regret it. Also, we just found out that Jim Cerrone will be filling in the hole that we're going to leave by not doing any more regular shows on Sunday. And so Jim's show will be every Sunday starting next Sunday, and you'll want to watch him. He's a seasoned DJ with a lot of knowledge. He really knows his stuff, and I hope that you'll check out his show and tell him that I sent you. On today's show, we're going to cover protecting your gear, some Post-it note tips, reminders, my ceremony planning area, the wedding vendor handbook, and Teri and I will talk about our past shows and some experiences. So grab some coffee and join me. I'll be right back. So I've got my coffee, and I hope you have yours. You know, burglaries are on the rise across the United States, and especially here in southern Louisiana. We recently went on a 4-day road trip, and in fact, it was highlighted in our last show, number 99. Well, during our trip, we got hit really hard with a burglary and had lost about $5,000 worth of equipment. We're still in the early stages, and that number may go up from here. I bought into my ego that we had a heavy-duty alarm system and that my stuff is protected, and it was in the house. So how did this happen? Well, I had a monitored alarm system with overkill motion detectors and door sensors and everything else, but you know what? I didn't have everything covered, and that's how they got me. They knew what they were doing, and they didn't touch my house with the alarm. They did instead cut the locks off of one of my trailers and helped themselves, and then broke into 3 of my sheds in the backyard using a crowbar to pull off the whole hasp off the wall. They didn't bother to cut the lock. So, you know, why waste time to cut the lock when there's only little bitty screws holding them in? So I had to rethink my whole security strategy and get ego out of the way. And I want you to do that now before you lose any gear. I want you to replace all of your regular padlocks with heavy-duty ones. The one that in the back with the check mark is the one you want, the big round one. You need to add chains wherever you need to. If you have a swinging gate that a lock won't go on, then put a chain and a lock on it. You want to start thinking of things to make things difficult. My trailer wouldn't accept one of the larger round locks like this on the hitch, so we drilled out the hole 2 sizes bigger so that it would fit. I want the best protection going forward, and the more heavy duty the lock, the more likely they're going to leave it alone. Use carriage bolts instead of screws, and then on the back side you want to use a steel plate to prevent this crowbar attack. I didn't think about that, or had never heard of it, and then when I started researching how can I fix this problem so they can't use a crowbar in the future, that was the answer. Carriage bolts, which have the nice smooth round head on the front so there's nothing for them to grab, and then a backing plate and beef this thing up. And that's what I want to do. In the meantime, I'm also adding sensors to my sheds and cameras to the backyard so that we can keep an eye on our valuable equipment. Have a list somewhere of all the make, model, and serial numbers of your gear, your lawnmowers, your gas blowers, etc. One of the most important lessons that I have learned from this experience is that you have to think of your security in layers instead of just thinking that a single padlock is going to prevent a thief from getting in your shed or your trailer or whatever. Seeing a ripped hasp off of the wall with the lock still attached is a very eye-opening experience. Start hardening your security layers, and never forget it's exactly that, layers. The harder you can make it for a thief to grab your stuff, the more likely they will just move on to another location. One final tip I'd like to share is that you should take lots of pictures of your equipment and put those in a folder on your hard drive so that you have multiple backups of those photos.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Sometimes it's the simple ideas that really work the best, and I'm sure that you don't carry 100% of your gear around with you at all times, and neither do I. I have my core stuff that I need for every event that I do, and then I load up the other equipment as needed for each job. There are some lights that I bought a few years back, and whenever I would need them, I would always seem to be at one part short. It was 3 pieces. It was the lighting unit, it was a stand bag, and then there was this cable assembly. There was like several power cables and control cables. But I would constantly forget the power cable, the third part of this, and so we'd have to make an emergency trip to get it or have it brought to me, and I needed some other better method to make sure that I don't forget this. So what I came up with was really simple, using Post-it notes. I wrote one note for each thing that comes up that I occasionally need to add to my setup for that particular event. So we're going to do a little quick show and tell. So this is my portfolio that I carry with me to all of my events, and my event paperwork is inside. So as I'm doing my notes and I realize that I need something, so like this one, if I were doing a ceremony, in an outside ceremony, I need an extra speaker and the things that I use for that. So I have a Post-it note that says load ceremony stuff. So there it is. It's on my little portfolio. So then I'm going through some other notes, and I notice that I need the shoe game prop. So okay, I need to make sure that I have that with me. So again, I can just put it on the portfolio, and you just keep stacking these things up, and then as you load those items into your vehicle, you can just take off the whole stack and then simply separate them and put them back on a shelf or a wall or someplace around your office wherever you do your paperwork. I have mine on a door for a little like a cubby door, and so it works out really well. So you can make these Post-it notes for anything that you need, and it'll just remind you, hey, I need to load this before I go. And then once you're finished, just put them back on the shelf or wherever you have them stored, and you'll be able to use them over and over and over again, and you won't forget that cabling like what happened to me all the time. We'll be right back. A while back, we covered some ceremony planning basics, and in the Sunday with Mike Facebook group, we actually discussed this a little bit further. I asked if anybody had come up with a really good ceremony planning form, and nobody stepped up to the plate. So I took my ideas that I had been using on paper for a really long time, and I converted those to an online planning area. This area is a complete planning center for ceremonies with everything that I could think of to give to our couples. So before you head over to my website to try to see this area, I'll save you the trouble. You can't see it. I learned a long time ago that if you want your forms to be your forms, then you need to lock them down behind some form of protection, because otherwise your forms, your ideas, and your hard work will become everybody's form on the internet. Here you can see the main part of the planning area that we have secured on our website with password protection. We start off the top of the page with general instructions, when is this information due, and what we expect from our clients. Now we're into the middle part of the page, and you can see the main parts here, and we explain what each thing is in the tabs, what they're called, they're in the correct order, and the whole idea is to keep the ceremony information flowing smoothly and make things easy for our clients. Next, we give them the ceremony rehearsal information in case they want to do that part themselves. And then finally, we give them links and information on how to obtain their marriage license. The advantage to the website page over a form is huge, because the client can click on links and it's just much easier for them. Then we go right into our online form where they fill it out, hit submit. That email comes to me with all the information that I need for the ceremony parts. I keep saying by Alan Berg next to my desk to remind me. It's a really simple message, but it's really important to me, and I learned it from him about a year ago on stage. He said, quote, "Remove the friction," end quote, and it has completely changed my thought process forever. Thanks, Alan. If I told you that a book existed that was so close to everything that I do and believe in, would you buy that book? Would you read it? I discovered a book many years ago that I can't remember exactly how I found it, and as I read this book, there were so many of my early mistakes that were covered in it. Things that took me forever to learn and a lot of bumps in the road to figure out. But yet, here were most of them right in front of me. If this were not my last regular Sunday with Mike show, you still would not be learning about this book, because I consider it one of my best weapons in my toolbox. But since it is our last show, as I promised everyone, I'm going to go out with a bang, so here is the book. But before we show you the new one, because we just found out, this is mine. This is the one that I bought way back when. It's green, and it's the first edition. And when Teri was looking up the graphic for this, she found out that there's a new version, and that's what you're looking at now. So, as I said, I bought the first edition and with the green cover, and I had no idea, but it is a really, really good book. I want you to get this. Give it to yourself as a gift. It's worth every penny, and it's going to put you leaps and bounds above your competition. If you're like me and you're not a huge book reader, don't worry about it. You're going to be okay. The original copy is 188 pages of gold. Get it, and you'll be glad you did. So here we are at our final regular show, number 100. And Teri and I thought that it would be good just to talk about our general experiences about the show and some of the things that we learned as we researched graphics, topics, and recording a show like this, right?
Right.
So how much fun was this?
It was fun. It was hard in the beginning, learning how to do the graphics. It was hard to figure out the lighting, which really was horrible.
Yeah, 3-point lighting is a fun topic.
Yeah. We did the segment on the 3-point lighting, but until you really experience the 3-point lighting, you really don't get a gist of how hard it is.
Yep, that's true.
Picking the colors of the shirts. I mean, they're yellow and peach and pink are not really good.
Yeah, and then don't forget the uplight color behind us.
Oh, yeah, the uplight colors, sometimes they weren't good. Finally, we were told, pick one color, stay with it. So that's why you see purple all the time.
Yep, and then another problem was, as much as I love this shirt from John Young, my chair is black, the shirt's black, and so it doesn't really give any contrast between my shoulders. So it looks like I have this weird neck thing, but it's really just black on black. And that's why some of the later shows we started changing the shirt colors around.
So it's before we record the show, it's always Mike goes, pick out a shirt and make sure it works.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and my toughest job every week was always picking out the topics. The topics were the hard part, and getting to show 100. And I didn't add them up, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 370 topics is what we've covered. And it's a lot of research, a lot of time. So we hope that the show will benefit you. I got to tell you, we have reached greater realms than we ever thought. I mean, nobody ever thought that somebody in Louisiana could reach out to 16 countries and have so much representation in the Sunday with Mike Facebook group. And we're going to keep supporting that. There's going to be a lot of people finding this show after this show later down the road who will want to join, and we're just going to keep supporting the show, answering questions, and so we don't know what's going to happen, but this is going to be our regular weekly show. This is the ending of that, and if I have something to talk about in the future, we may do a little spot show here and there. And the way you would know that is by being a member of the Sunday with Mike group, because that's the only place that I intend to announce it. So you definitely want to join the group and hang out in there. So anything you got to say before we wrap up?
Just that we really enjoyed doing the show. We were honored to be chosen to do the show, and it's not really that it's it's been mostly Mike. I'm just the behind-the-scenes guru. That's all I am. I take no claim of fame for this.
You're a guru?
I'm a guru. I'm a guru. Yeah.
You learn something new
I
every
do
day.
well with the graphics.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I make you look good. I mean.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah,
That's
I do.
True.
So, but we do appreciate the opportunity to have done this. And we do thank John Young really much.
Yeah, big time. Thanks, John, for allowing us to be a part of this experiment called Sunday with Mike. It's worked well beyond anything we ever expected, including John. And, we figured maybe 5 shows, and then here we are at 100,
He was hoping for 4, and look.
It's amazing.
Yeah, this has gone on almost 2 years.
Absolutely amazing. So, my original goal was to reach out and touch and help as many DJs as we could, and we've certainly exceeded that. So again, thank you to all of you for being loyal supporters and viewers and watchers, and all of your feedback over the time, and especially to John again. So that's going to be it. We're going to wrap it up from the swamps of Louisiana. We'll say so long. Take care.
Laissez le bon temps rouler.
There you go. It means let the good times roll, Sha. Take care.